something of it, or.
Right, so it would be his company.
Yeah, I don't think he owns the company, but that's what I heard. I'm hoping they do some
Right.
upgrades on it. You know,
I just don't think anybody can make it down there for the prices of the water bill.
well, they're only well. They just pay sewer. Right?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
but still.
I don't know why this is so crooked.
But all, well, they're on water, city water.
The statute doesn't say it has to be good quality.
That's true. That's true.
Good luck to them.
High def, 4K.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I don't understand.
it actually contemplates the opposite, because it talks about like you lose your signal, and
Thank you.
it kind of says do your best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rural places that don't have very good
Yeah.
internet.
Well, I didn't say too, like,
Oh,
options
Stan,
potentially, like, you could to just
I would.
download it at another time.
Correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
Basically, yeah, they basically have some sort of documentation for it.
Yep.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, welcome everybody to the town council, meeting for Cherubusco, November 5th. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call,
Mark Heppel, David Van Horn,
present.
Devin Keener,
Present.
Madeline St. Bartle present.
Alright. We're able to look over, meeting minutes for October 1st.
Yes, I make a motion that we approve meeting minutes for October 1st.
I'll second. Have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from the October 1st meeting. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, at this time, open up for anybody that has any public comments or anything that's not already on the agenda. All righty. Moving on, old business. I know we had kind of touched base on it. Some past meetings, just kind of wanting to bring it back up and see where we think we're at on speed limits. And also some people potentially brought up four-way stops, but yeah, just kind of want to see if you thought any more on that and where.
I thought you were gonna do some more of a study having to do with that. Have you done?
Yeah, we don't, I mean, we don't have like, you're gonna pay for a study just like anything else for the, I mean, but as far as like what we see,
Yeah.
like going through our records of like that part of it, it's just, we don't have what people are, you know, the comparison of what, the problem that we have compared to what, like kind of the, I don't want to say select few or some people that want the lower speed limits. I think it's just based on, you know, I mean, your long stretches, right?
Yeah.
And then we have our hit or miss people. I mean, I had one the other day, I got on Line Street, but I hadn't got one in months, so.
Yeah. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on, lowering it? I mean, I guess just me personally, I feel like 30 in town might be a little high, and not even just Line Street. Drawing a blank, but there were Busco Beans going.
Mill Street?
Yeah, Mill Street. And I've heard kind of a couple people live on there thinking, that it's kind of high for there. So,
I mean, at least on Mill Street, there are no sidewalks, so I mean, I can understand that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Line Street, there are sidewalks, so that's kind of a little different.
It seems like the houses are closer to the road on Line Street too.
yeah.
Huntington County had a meeting on Monday, and they had a consultant who was doing a study for a change in the speed limit. I assume this is, I don't know how long a stretch it was, but it was $5,000 for the study, just to give you a ballpark of what that looks like.
I mean, is it, do we have to have a study that if we would change?
Yes.
Okay, so we'd have to, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay, you're a perfect example, right, Nathan? Your road's 20,
Yeah.
and do you see any difference in, right, you get the select few, whether it's early morning, you're getting more school traffic.
Yeah.
But Line Street's seeing heavy after school and after work hours,
Right.
because it's a feeder to Noble County. Mill Street, I don't know what kind of traffic other than going to, I can't imagine in Allen County, too many people are heading down Brandon Road to go to McDuffie, unless you want to drive down dirt road. So that I think can be, I would think instead of spending $5,000, it could be curbed by maybe some improvements, or maybe a couple more of those signs or something like that. That's just.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good point. It's like, you can have whatever speed limit you want, but they come flying out of the park, and I mean, they're,
I can only imagine what he sees.
Oh, yeah.
10 mile an hour back there.
Oh, yeah.
And you get speed bumps, and people don't care. They don't care about their cars.
Right.
So it takes a study for each change. So if you wanted to change Mill Street, it'd be 5,000. If you wanted to
Well,
change-
I don't know
Okay.
what that 5,000 included. I'm just trying to.
But it's a study for each, and wherever you're changing it, it's a study.
I know that we have to have a study if we want to put in a four-way stop, because I just encountered that last
Gotcha.
night, so.
But same with the speed limit too.
I mean, I know that it's recommended, I mean.
I don't know for
Casey could
sure.
Probably give a better,
Do you know
Yeah,
for
we
sure?
do know.
Are you talking about a traffic study? Is that what?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just the lower speed limits is what we're.
Traffic's going to tell you the traffic counts and typical densities of the traffic, so.
I don't know if changing the speed limit requires a study or not off the top of my head. I send that email, I can look into it if you want. I haven't looked into it, so I don't know.
I mean, I wasn't looking, but it seems like my knowledge, like you get looking, one thing says no, the other one says done, and it looks like I'm on official site, so I don't even really know. So I was like, I'm not gonna trust what I found, so, I mean, I guess where I'm at is if we can, it's not too costly, at least we're doing something to try and limit, but I mean, I also understand that, we're not gonna be able to stop everybody, and that's not gonna slow everybody down, but if it's cheap and, something we're able to do, I'm for looking into that, but that's just where I'm at on it.
I mean, I would think though, and I don't know what kind of trouble I would want to confer with Jeremy, but I think some of the best things that slow people down, like in Chicago, they're those massive, long speed bumps. They're fantastic. I mean, because you hit those just a couple times and
Right.
going fast, and you have problems with your vehicle.
Yeah.
I think what he'd said about the speed bumps was a no because of snowplows.
I think, I mean, there's gotta be a way that like Chicago's doing. I think those long ones are a little bit better than the sharp, stubby ones like back at the park.
They're like
Right? 'Cause
this
those,
table.
yeah, they're like
Yeah.
as long as
Oh,
that, so
yeah.
like gradual, but when you hit them going fast,
So
you
potentially,
go up and then you don't come down on the other side.
potentially
right?
do something like that, and you would be able to get away with, plow, maybe, is that the idea of it?
I think that's the idea, is that it's more gradual for the plow when they're going, and it doesn't just hit it and buckle that plow plow like it's meant to be, like if you hit a curb.
I'm from South Bend and we have those and they significantly slow you down because if you try to hit it too fast, you will, your car will bounce and go up and down and you'll come back down to the front end, might hit the front. So it definitely slows down. And I think to your point, I think the plows would probably be able to navigate that a lot better than the smaller ones you see.
Now, if we did that though, I mean, that'd probably be on 20, right? I mean, we wouldn't want to put something like that on a 30-mile-per-hour road, right? I mean, it seems, I don't know, then that seemed like that'd be pretty fast.
Well, I think the idea is to slow you down, right?
But I mean, so do you give heads up though that that's coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah, they
usually
put up
painted,
signs and-
Yeah.
right? They're,
Yeah,
because
they put
I mean, I'm
speed
thinking
bump
Chicago,
ahead.
they're 30 mile an hour.
Yeah, I think a lot of places where they put them is where you have long stretches with no stop signs. You don't want to put in a stop sign, but you want to slow the traffic down.
Well, maybe that's something we look into. I mean, I wasn't looking for us to make a final decision. It's something we had talked about and it's been a minute, so I just wanted to kind of bring it back up.
Yeah, especially on a stretch like Mill Street.
Yeah.
I mean, you could put one down in the middle of it where it's like, you can speed up as much as you want, but they're gonna get on the yips before, and especially where you're getting a lot more of your, I would say the majority of your traffic on Mill Street is local traffic that lives down there in Millstone Place or on Mill Street. I just can't imagine traffic going out to Brandon Road from McDuffie. I mean, maybe a few houses that live close right off McDuffie, but that's, you get a ton of traffic on Line Street.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah, I mean,
it's the main feeder to Noble.
That's probably our main issue, our main,
Yeah,
hotspot or
it's the
whatever.
second highest traffic other than 33 and
I believe it, yeah.
And I guess something I just thought of is the inconsistency, because part of it's 20 mile an hour, part of it's 30 mile an hour, and it's
Right.
just as residential in the 30 mile an hour as it is the 20.
Yeah.
I think that the 20 mile an hour is for when the fire department was there. I think that's why they made it
I bet
20.
that makes sense.
So,
All right, well, maybe we'll communicate through email and kind of figure out,
just remember reading an ordinance about it.
And I think that the key there would be if you looked into that and we did something, I think that speed bump needs to be before even Washington.
yeah.
Potentially it's gonna get people slowing down, knowing that they're using that road to slow down, because you come off of 33 and you don't have to slow down, right, to make that little just offshoot. And people are going 30 automatically, so you have to get on the brakes to get down to that. I mean, me and Madeline, we take that road all the time because we live out there. And it's amazing when you've got that sign up there, how easily it is to be going.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And I had it set really low. I had it set to go off at 22 miles an hour, but it was to try to get people's attention to slow down.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, I mean, it picks you up as soon as you get off of 33 and yeah, I mean, I'll be going 25 or something.
Oh, yeah.
And it's flashing, so.
I was out there jogging and I'm like, dang, picking me up. I'm like, I'm looking pretty good. They're like, oh, the car's coming. I was like, man, I'm ready to win some races. But yeah, no, that is, I'm pretty sure that definitely has helped too, having that
I
happen.
do feel like it has helped though.
It has helped.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys living there, you would know, so that seemed like that's.
Just kind of like that little reminder, right? Because I think a lot of people, the vast majority, they're just cruising along. Like I talked to other people, it's the same thing you do on 33, same thing that you do on 205. You just,
Yeah.
They're not specifically trying to go, certain people are. And those are the outliers that I think no matter what you do, you'll have those people.
I did have someone yesterday when I was leaving for work, they were doing 41 coming into town.
On that other one.
Yeah, it's like right across the street from my house, and I was like, better slow your butts down, so.
Speed bump would definitely help, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think in,
There's no stop sign between Klingerman for that whole stretch.
Mhm.
We've had a similar situation like this where somebody's barreling in town from a county road. And they came up, what they did was implement a stop sign at a three-way stop.
Well, I mean, that's what we did on Klingerman and Wine, and it's helped a lot.
Is there another place you can do the same?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Kind of what
been
we're
one of the
talking about.
discussions, would be right there at,
totally.
Tully.
Totally, but there are two driveways right there, so it kind of is difficult, so.
I just think you have another incline too for
Yeah,
the stop
Yeah,
the snow,
it's
just like
right
Washington.
there.
I wouldn't even take Washington in the wintertime.
It's right there.
Because you get
where
stuck on that
the-
one way, when
And
it's
then head
certain
out of
ice,
town.
it's like,
That's
it's,
true,
right,
that-
stay
yeah.
calm and for whatever reason, Line Street always becomes ice.
It
And I don't
is.
know what that reason is, but,
I hadn't even thought of that angle.
or you have the people that are trying to stop going down that hill,
Yeah, that's true.
creeping into it.
I'd speed.
And it's one of those things, you never know until you get into it, but I love the speed bump because I've hit them in Chicago, just because Chicago's, it seems like they're never painted either. So you go through them at night and it's like, man, you're not paying attention, and it feels like your whole vehicle is just left and bottom.
Alrighty, yeah, well,
It'll be super annoying though for the people that live nearby.
Your snow plows won't like it. That's what we always hear to push
Yeah.
back on. Think they're gonna hate it.
yeah. Alright, well, we'll keep on looking into options and see if we can just, Alrighty. Alright, discussion for employee insurance. Steve, appreciate you for coming tonight and just kind of running maybe over some of these numbers with us, and if you have any questions.
Yeah, appreciate it. So the current medical plan is set to renew December 1st with Anthem. We moved it to Anthem December 1st of last year after a long tenure with PHP. And part of that transition was a different approach. An approach that incorporated HSAs, and ultimately taking some premium savings and help funding accounts for members that are on the plan. And by all means, you guys did a phenomenal job in what you funded towards those member accounts. So looking at this year's renewal with Anthem, it came in with a 9.9% initial increase, which market trends and inflation right now is 8 to 10%. It's in every client I've met with in the last 60 days, I've told them, and honestly, this has probably been the worst renewal season I've seen in 20 years of doing insurance. 9.9 is actually one of the lower renewals that I have. I have clients in the hundreds where they have a 48% renewal, and which means it's $600,000 of premium if they were to renew. So I'm not trying to, it just puts things in perspective.
Our liability insurance, when I met with Wayne, he said that the average for that was 17%,
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
I have that one.
Okay.
Yep, I'm good.
Yeah, this is kind of an executive summary that talks about that. So when we made the move last year, we had roughly a 12% increase from PHP. And by making the move, we reduced the premium by 25% below the existing, which produced not only savings for the existing, but then mitigated an increase, which, like I said, you guys in turn used to help fund HSA accounts. And, the purpose of that is to kind of put in perspective of, what plan we moved to, but then also to get the feedback and understand how our employees perceiving that coverage. I brought with me some claim reports that are kind of give us some light into the financial side of the plan to see how it's operating, but then also, like I said, at the end of the day, we also have to understand what the perception is from the employees. And when you go from a traditional plan, when you have co-pays for doctor visits and prescriptions, and that's been the long-standing plan, and going to an HSA, there definitely is, a learning curve there of explaining the plan, and ultimately, maybe that's something I have to continue to do, is educate in that regards and make sure that we all understand the plan as well as possible. Because ultimately, when you look at the premium savings and the cost difference, you pay insurance companies a lot of money for the what ifs. If I go to my doctor and I want to pay $25, ultimately you're paying extra premium for that. And typically we know that not everybody's going to the doctor each and every month. And so that's just kind of some context there. One thing about your plan is it's a version of a self-funded plan. It is one of the most conservative versions and one of the most risk-free versions out there. So one nice thing about it is this is a claims report month-by-month financial. There's no medical information or personal information of employees on it. But what it ultimately does is gives us a financial snapshot of the, success or failure of the plan. So I'm just going to point out a couple things. So you can see it starts in December when your plan started last year, runs through October, but really let's discount October because the data isn't complete there. So if you look at from December through September, you put approximately $60,000 of your premium goes into this claims account, and it's not any extra premium. It's part of what you're paying right now. During that same time frame, your plan Anthem has only paid out about $41,000 of those claims. That's for your entire group. So when you start to look at it, you have 20 to 25 members covered on the plan. Collectively, the plan's only paid out $41,000 of claims, leaving the plan with about a $13,000 claim surplus. Now that may not sound like a lot, but when you put in perspective the amount of claims that you've paid, which is at $41,000, but then you look at your total premium, what you're spending, the plan is really low utilization right now. So when you look at HSAs, typically if you are low utilization, that plays right into an HSA offering. So the money that you're giving your employees and put into their HSA accounts, a good portion of those people probably haven't spent it. And I have reports that show that too, which is good. I mean, ultimately the money's there for them for when they need it for medical expenses. And the key about that was you gave it to your employees versus giving it to the insurance company, which I typically prefer, because you're not paying the insurance companies for the what ifs, you're paying your employees for here it is when you need it. So right now your Anthem plan is operating very well. I mean, even with a 10% increase, it goes back to your plan's running well. If your plan was running poorly, you would have been probably looking at 30%, unfortunately. And that just goes to where we are in the insurance industry right now, it's very chaotic and volatile. So from that perspective, the plan's running well. Any questions on this before I kind of move on?
No, not right now. I think I'll have a question, but I'm gonna let you finish what you're talking about.
Okay. Make sure each of you have one of these. So this is the proposal that we put together. So typically what we do is we go out to market and we look at different options just to see, are we in line with what the renewal is? Do you need one? I'm sorry.
No,
Okay, you're good. Okay.
I just didn't print and color.
Gotcha. So we went out to market, we looked at PHP, they weren't competitive. We went to SIHO, they're the new carrier that took over for Anthem for the chamber plan. So that was another option. There's IPEP, there's Nationwide. United Healthcare, they don't work with municipalities, so we couldn't quote those. But ultimately, when we went out to market, we didn't find anything more competitive than your existing plan. So when you look at this proposal, when you flip to that first page, what that merely does is show your existing planning design, what your current rates are with the current enrollment, and then what they would go up to if you were to renew. In a lot of cases, the renewal, that 9.9% increase, typically is somewhat of a starting number. A lot of times we can go back to the carriers and ask for some rate concessions or rate relief. We have more leverage when we have other competitive offers, so we don't necessarily have that. But in most cases, we could still potentially go back and get them to knock off maybe 2 to 3 points off the 9% to get it rate probably down closer to 7. Especially in the sense that we know that this is, if it's our best offer, anything we can get from them as a rate relief is just icing on the cake. So that's if you stayed exactly the same. Your monthly cost for the entire group without taking into consideration contributions is roughly $16,000, and now it would go up to $17,700, which is about a $19,000 annual increase for the entire group without any changes. That doesn't take into account the HSA contributions, which we'll obviously incorporate into the conversations as well. So if you flip to the next page, ultimately, like I mentioned previously, going from a traditional plan to the HSA was, it was a big move. So it's a matter of, my question to you would be, what is the perception of the employees when it comes to that? Do you have employees that were happy with the move to the HSA? Did it work out well for them in a sense that you're funded a good portion of their deductible expenses? Or were people, overwhelmingly unhappy with that move?
I've had some conversations, nothing super detailed. I mean, they were asking if we're, gonna go back to PHP. I plan to have some more conversations, more detailed, but, I haven't personally heard of anything super concerning, not saying there isn't, but.
I mean, there's been a lot of complaining, but there's always a lot of complaining.
One thing that PHP in general is a more user-friendly, member-friendly insurance company. They give you that hometown feel because they are smaller and more personable. So by all means, PHP's always had that reputation. You weigh that, and then you look at the financial side. Anthem is the 5,000-pound gorilla in the market, along with United Healthcare. So they're always going to be one of the more competitively priced programs out there. But sometimes they can be clunky on some of the claims issues and things like that. Ultimately, we rely on members to bring in the issues to us if they're having problems, because then we can look into those and try to rectify them. But just like anything, most industries, you're going to have some form of user error. Insurance industry is no different. So if they're having problems with their coverage, something wasn't completely covered, then ultimately we'd hope they bring that to us. Now, part of that is when you think about what type of plan we were on previously, where if they go to the doctor, they used to pay a copay. Now it's subject to deductible. Some people may perceive that as it wasn't covered. Well, it's covered. It's just subject to your deductible. It gets discounted down. The idea was when the town funded people's HSA accounts, that money was to be used 100% to pay those bills. So instead of having a $25 copay to see their doctor, it may be charged at $70, but if they got $2,500 in their HSA, they're using that money to pay that full $70 visit.
Right.
So for your low utilizers, the plan in essence should be great for them. For people they're taking generic drugs, go to their doctor a couple times a year, or really just in a sense have less than $2,500 in annual expenses, they should love this plan. So now I'm not saying that the high utilizers should absolutely hate it. It's just ultimately making sure they understand that that money that was funded to them helps them pay their medical expenses.
Right.
So
I just pulled up what 2024's PHP costs were. So our annual cost, this does not include the employee share of what they paid, was $268,051.92. With the employee share subtracted off $241,246.73.
did that take into account the 12% increase that we would have had to pay?
Yeah, that's what the 2024 rates were.
Yeah. So you would have had another $33,000 if you stayed with PHP on the existing plan.
That was last year, and then this year would have been even more of a jump. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
For
So,
sure.
So we're talking nearly $100,000.
yeah, that's, and like I said, it goes back to the idea is that instead of giving it to the PHP, because the thing was, if you still would have gave it to PHP, employees still would have had deductibles, they still would have had copays. The idea is that you gave it to your employees to use for medical expenses, to give them more upfront dollars for their medical expenses. So, and obviously, when I look at medical plans, I say, well, what's best for the majority of the population? What would I want as a plan myself? So when I looked at your guys' plan, and when you said, yeah, this is what we're going to fund for singles, this is what we're going to fund for employees with dependents, the amount you put in their HSA, by far, I have another municipality client that does very similar to what you do and what they fund in the HSA. So you guys are almost identical in that regards. But like I said, that's it. You guys obviously went above and beyond in that regards. But ultimately on this sheet, what I did do was I did run some alternative quotes to show you traditional plans. So if you wanted to go back to a more traditional plan with Anthem where employees had co-pays for doctor visits and had co-pays for prescriptions, you could. Alternative one does that. It's a $1,500 deductible for an individual. A max out of pocket is $6,500, so that's for major medical. So if they had a surgical procedure, they pay the first $1,500. They pay 10% after that until they reach a maximum of $6,500. Co-pays are $15 for primary care, $30 for specialists, and then they have a 3-tier drug card. But ultimately, that plan is 30% above your existing rate. So you're tacking on another 20% in premium above your current renewal increase to get back to a traditional plan, which in that situation basically raises your price for a $60,000 from your current rate. That would be $60,000 more than that plan. You wouldn't fund HSAs in that regard. You go right back to that. Obviously, the premium's higher, so you have to decide. I mean, I think that was another thing you guys did was you lowered their cost to be on the plan too, because the premium went down and you funded their HSAs. So now their premium, I mean, if you maintained a certain percentage, you probably would raise their cost to be on it, and they would no longer have the HSA contribution. But it gives you the option, one way or another, which way you like. And like I said, it comes back to perception of the plan, additional education, and just understanding people's needs. But like I said, I have claims reports that show that you have quite a few people that had no claims for the year, literally had 0 claims. I mean, probably 40 to 45% of your population were in that category, which is useful information.
Right, yeah.
Just letting you know, so we fund about $62,000 for the HSAs.
How much you say, sorry?
62.5 to be exact.
So is that something because we weren't clear on that last year, right? If you were gonna contribute again to the HSA like you did before.
Correct.
But that's what what the idea would be behind it
Yes.
this year again.
And I think it's because last year, if I'm remembering right, I think the idea was to maybe look at possibly going back to the, what we had before. And then if that was the case, we wouldn't have done the HSA, but it sounds like that's probably not really an option anymore.
Well, I mean-
With PHP.
Well, that
Correct.
was PHP.
Yeah,
I mean,
PHP
Anthem
is what it
has
was.
this other,
Right.
which we would be paying less. I mean, yeah, it's a $58,000 increase, but we wouldn't be funding 62.5 into HSA accounts.
I mean, I personally, I see what you say as far as the benefit, and it's how it's giving them basically the money, the money, the control, and I don't see benefit to that. I mean, what do you
Right,
think?
and I like that the HSA continues to build.
Yeah,
As long as
exactly.
there's nothing large, and then it's their money. Should they leave, it's their money.
That is correct. It is their money. Ideally, I mean, this is getting deeper into the weeds a little bit, but there are certain banks that their HSA accounts, they can invest that money in mutual funds, which grows it faster.
Sure.
I mean, I do that currently with my HSA, and year to date, I was at a 20%, gain annualized. So, I mean, when you're putting 2,500 or $5,000 in there, and if you're not spending it, but you're investing in something like that where you can make 10% versus, 2-3% with an HSA bank that you normally get to help grow it faster. And ideally, yeah, you want people putting money in there to help grow it because that can be used for Medicare expenses, Medicare premiums when they turn 65, when they're, obviously their income and budgets tighten up, having that money put aside for those expenses in the future when they're older is a good thing.
Sure.
So, yeah, moving back to a traditional plan, their out-of-pocket expenses would be higher for medical expenses than what they would be on the HSA by far. Even though it's a $1,500 deductible, their max out-of-pocket is $6,500, and they have co-pays for doctor visits and prescriptions. Under the HSA plan, their deductible is $3,250 for a single, but you're putting $2,500 in your HSA, so their net deductible is $750.
Right.
And then if they go to the doctor, they have co-pays after deductible. If they have prescriptions after deductible, they pay co-pays for that. But like I said, that first 2,500 of the 3,250 deductible was funded by your guys' contributions, which is significant. And if you reduced what was coming out of their check to be enrolled in the plan, that helped fund the additional 750 in expenses of deductible. So that, like I said, you know, whether I need to spend more time on educating the employees on that and looking at that, that's probably a big thing. But I mean, ultimately, that's why we, you know, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but that was one thing that was huge about last year's proposal that we thought would be an attractive benefit for employees.
I think a lot of the pushback last year was that it was kind of a shock because no one likes change.
Correct.
But I think now, here we are a year later, they can maybe see things a little more clearly, see the numbers and see where they're headed.
And I think as an employee, just to speak for a lot of them I talked to do is, I think we weren't sure that it was gonna be, we were gonna get anything put into our HSA. So there are some people that have used their entire
Yeah.
HSA and then they're like, now I've gotta pay $11,000 next year. Because my HSA is empty because I've used it on prescriptions or whatnot. So now you're looking at, oh, because, and you couldn't, that's the only thing I didn't understand. Why can we not, we can only put like a certain amount into that, like $3,300, right? So looking at it from my side, I was like, why can't I at least put enough from my check to cover that whole 11,000? So it's not not a sticker shock, but we can only put the 3,300 in.
Yeah, the IRS allows limits of what you can put in there because
Okay.
you're writing it off your taxes. You're not being taxed on those contributions. So in essence, they put 2,500 in. This year you could put in 3,350 as an individual. So you would put the difference in, and that's what you write off your taxes. If you're over a certain age, you can put the extra $1,000 for catch up, and then it's typically twice that if you're a family. So you're roughly putting in potentially up to $7,000, but once again, the town's putting in 5 of it for family settings. You're putting in roughly $2,000 of your own money in there, which is helping you cover the majority of your deductible. But then, yeah, you still have co-pays on the backside that you could be paying. But you do that. You can do that every year.
So then, but yeah, so like next year at the daily, mine will be over after they contribute, just because I didn't use mine.
Yeah. So yeah, you're to a point where yours is continuing to grow way past what your deductible is. So your exposure, you have enough in there to cover your exposure. But obviously, everybody's not going to be in that situation if there are some individuals that continue to use it because of maintenance medications and whatnot.
And I think that some of the employees just talking throughout, I think their big thing was, well, why couldn't we just at least have the option to pay more on our premium and make up that difference that was going to be, and so the town didn't offset it to the PHP. It's just an option, or kind of look at that. And maybe we did, right? I think that's where like me and Devin were kind of shaking our heads together. It's like the education part, maybe sit down per department, come into the police department, go to the park, talk to the water utility guys, the sewer plant, whatever.
Well, I even think individual family meetings. That way, husband and wife or whatever can
That's why
come in.
that's why I wanted the wives there last year.
Yeah, because we
Right.
did that group meeting. It's just a matter of, you would be able to tell me what the participation was that showed up versus how many were eligible to show up. Did we get 60-70% of the people to show
Yeah,
up?
we got
Oh,
most, we got almost everybody.
And from our perspective, it was like, we had already gone to it, right? The determination, we had already gone to the HSA. And I think a lot of the employees were like, what's going on? We've already been told this. And so then they just checked out like, what does it matter? This is what we have, right? That was their feeling and the negative connotation that came with it. Not that anything towards you. It was just like, hey, we didn't even know this was what's going, and it got switched. But we all know timelines determine when we have to have things done too. So,
Yeah.
and now they have had a year to see it. And so then I still think sitting down and just explaining to them more what they can do, and just even like investing it and doing different things like that, the options when they get that is a good thing.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing you could consider is, we have a lot of employer clients that offer two medical plans within a carrier. So they may say, we'll offer an HSA and we'll offer a traditional plan. And they give the employees the choice. Now, obviously, there's a cost differential of what you charge for the traditional plan versus the HSA. There's trade-offs for them, but they ultimately have that choice. So if someone said, you know, I get where you're going with the HSA, but it's just not for me, they may want to pay extra to have that traditional plan. Yes, they lose out on the HSA contribution and they may pay more, but that might be an option for you to consider.
That sounds like a nightmare for administratively, just letting you know that.
But in addition to that, is that even an option with 14 employees?
Yes.
Really?
With Anthem, you can offer two plans. And I would work with you on the cost differential, because the idea is that, you know, if you're putting 2,500 in for a single, you know, you may say, well, then, you know, obviously they won't receive that. How much of that are we going to transition to the traditional plan? But I mean, ultimately, you know, we set the contributions, we set what the employees' costs are. They'd be able to identify which plan, you would get the enrollments, that all gets put in payroll. That doesn't change until the next year. Anthem invoices it, they'll know what the enrollment is. So at the end of the day, they will have what the enrollment is and making sure. It's just a matter of making sure employees understand which plan they choose. And one has HSA, one doesn't. But that, I mean, I don't want to overcomplicate your choices here, but that is an option, and clients do quite often. They do offer both two plans.
So with this plan, our deductibles and max out of pocket stay the same as last year.
Yes, yes. Make sure they did map it up. So you're at a 3,250 deductible. They mapped it up to 3,300, and they did that for compliance reasons for the IRS, because ultimately the IRS bumps up your contributions of what you can put in your HSA by so much, and they basically are mirroring the IRS in this situation. So they did bump that up. Now your out-of-pocket maximum on the plan is still 5,500. So even though they bumped the deductible up by 50, they kept the out-of-pocket max at 5,500, the same. But that was just because of IRS. They're trying to stay in level with those numbers.
So for timeline, when do we need to have everything?
We should have had it by last month.
Well, the one thing that works in your favor is, you know, Anthem still is your best option cost-wise. So you're not making a move to another carrier, which would require more time.
Paperwork and things.
Yeah. I mean, so it just boils down to when you doing open enrollment, you know, having the meetings, handing out the memos to explain the plan. And people are already enrolled in plans. They would literally have to tell us, I don't want the coverage anymore. So anybody that's already existingly enrolled, that's not going to change within Anthem. So, you know, we've got plenty of time to do that. So it's just really anybody making changes. There's the one that would have potential
We
disruption.
don't have that much time because we deduct from paychecks a month prior.
Okay, then
And
you're
that's next week. So if we're,
depending on, what your difference in cost share would
yes,
be.
exactly.
So. But ideally, you would want to try to make a decision within the next couple of days, so we can set up open enrollment meetings to present it. Typically, you would give employees probably a week for open enrollment to determine who do they want to enroll, that type of thing.
Is that something that has to be voted upon in the meeting?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You could call a special meeting if you needed to. Assume November 19th would be too late.
Yes.
Yeah.
To be fair, he did want to come on the 15th. Well, we canceled our meeting.
I did.
Do you have any other questions for Steve?
I don't. He did a really good job answering the questions.
mean, I'm not sure we have really too many options here, right? That's kind of my,
Yeah, I mean, really, it boils down to, my opinion is I wouldn't advise you to go back to a traditional plan all by itself. My advice would be maybe you consider offering it as a second option to allow people choice. Because I know you're shaking your, but here's the thing.
Look, right now, we don't have a full-time clerk treasurer or administrator of payroll or HR, so, that's not awful.
Okay. I mean, obviously you've got a population, some people may like the HSA, some people may not like it. So by having one plan, you're basically, you're gonna make some people happy and you might make some people unhappy, which neither plan is bad. It's just a matter of do you want to give choice or not? And I know obviously there's other logistical things in managing it and things like that, because then you got employees coming to Madeline and yeah, I'm not trying to overcomplicate things, but.
if we did that option, I'm just asking questions, if we did that, I mean, would that though affect, since not everybody would be in the same plan, would that adjust these numbers at all?
No.
Okay. So someone would be getting the alternative plan, someone would be getting the current mapped plan.
Yep. We would just have to figure out what would you charge your employees for each of the plans, and what would you contribute to the HSA in that plan. And then that would be clearly defined in the benefit memo that gets handed out to employees. So they would know exactly what I would pay for this plan, exactly what I would pay for that plan, and then they would decide what's the best option for them
But they would have to make that decision.
within a week.
Yeah. I'm not sure they're,
Yeah.
don't mean to speak out of turn, but it's not like time to educate everybody on it.
Well, because
Well,
that would take
yeah.
a minute for you guys to get even all of this written up like that and everything, right?
I mean, we'll be able to turn it around. But ultimately it gives them that traditional plan that they want, that they remember from a year ago that they're potentially, missing if they're frustrated that that's gone. Most of them are probably looking just to have a prescription card. The fact that they can go to the pharmacy and pay just a copay, whereas under the HSA, it's subject to deductible. So if it's a $300 drug, they're paying $300 under the HSA. If they go to the traditional plan, it might be $60 or $75. That's typically the most disrupting part of moving from a traditional plan to an HSA. But once again, the fact that you funded it to $2,500 or $5,000 was to help alleviate that for the majority of the people. But that's what they're looking for. Or if they have kids on the plan, the ability to have a copay to take their kids into the doctor. Because the kids will get sick and they want to take them in for a $15 copay versus $70 every time they go in, and they're depleting their HSA funds. So
I think that's.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's between the multiple doctor visits for people, and then on top of it, they have we have a couple people that have super expensive prescriptions.
Yeah.
So their HSA is done, and then it doesn't leave when then their wife has to go to the doctor, right? So, and I don't know how. I don't know insurance. It's
If we have the time, I'm willing to do it in a special meeting, but I just don't know if we have the time, It takes other people, obviously.
I think they'll at least be excited to know that the idea is that you're gonna fund the HSA, right?
Oh, yeah.
So at least I think that is there again. I think that alleviates something. And if you wanted to address the multiple, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I do talk to a lot of the employees. Like, I think
It just seems like a lot to have to do and answer a lot of questions in a small amount of time. And the fact that too, things look quite a bit different this year in the office, I'm just not sure if that's the right way to go to give that option, I guess is where I'm at.
My impression of the HSA plan, I still like the HSA plan a lot, by all means. I think it's operating quite well. With the people saving, like I said, I can't reiterate this enough. You guys reduced their premium to be on the plan. So that means people are saving money out of their paycheck, correct?
Mhm.
The idea is that they should be putting that money aside for medical expenses on top of what HSA money you're giving them.
And honestly, most have,
Good.
yeah.
So, but it's all about that perspective of knowing I'm getting 2,500 and I saved $800 a year in premium out of my paycheck. So I got $3,300 to work with before I really dip into a dime of my actual own money. And that's what it boils down to with HSAs. And that's why I still feel like the plan overall is good, but I only bring up the second option just because I just want to make sure that we're taking care of your guys' needs.
That's appreciated. So my quick question then would be, so we have the $19,000 increase for our present plan. If we offer the two plans, would we have to pay the $58,000 in addition to that?
No, it'd just be based on the enrollment.
Already have
So many
it.
people enroll in the HSA, which will cause this amount of increase, and so many enroll in the other plan, which causes X amount of increase. So ultimately, we would have to decide what to charge people. Because ultimately, you have a 10% increase right now. You would normally decide how much of that are we going to eat as the town and cover, and how much that would be passed on to the employees. And that's just traditional what you do normally. And then but the caveat is that offering that second plan, we have to figure out what to charge on top of the increase because it's a more expensive plan just in general.
Sure.
You're gonna charge more for that plan.
It gets a little hairy.
Sure does.
Well,
No
and in my mind, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, it's just when, so if we're funding the 2,500 or the 5,000 for families, it seems like if they went to one of these alternative plans, they'd be paying quite a bit more probably, you know what I mean, to where it wouldn't even make sense on their end.
Honestly, they'd be paying the same amount as what they were paying last year for PHP. I mean, the rates are pretty comparable to what we were paying last year for PHP. But most of those people have taken the savings and then put it in their HSA account.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 10 out of 14 employees, they contribute extra to their HSA.
Good.
every
And I think I was one of the only ones that like my premium really didn't go
Yeah,
down.
well, no, yeah, because yours, I mean, you were like at the ideal age.
Yeah, the median age of
Yeah,
the pricing. I mean,
well, then you kick the kid
You're
off.
welcome, Rick.
Rick's not even on our insurance.
Just figured because he's sitting.
Sorry.
I'll help you out.
I think I feel a lot better knowing that we are going to go ahead and contribute to the HSA. And since we are short on time, for this year, I think we should continue with the HSA. So I'd like to make a motion that we continue with the HSA.
What contribution limits, or what contributions to the HSA then?
Keeping it the same as last year.
25.
25 or 5,000 for the family.
And so then we would go with the proposed mapped. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? Yes.
and I'll go back to them and see if I can trim off a couple more points.
Yeah,
That, that would be ideal. I don't have as much leverage, but I've got a good relationship with Gary, so I'll see what I can do.
I'll second that. I have a motion and a second to continue with the coverage we currently have. Also to contribute 2,500 for singles, 5,000 for families, and the HSA. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And also, like Stephen mentioned, maybe we can set up a day or a couple of days to come out, meet with the different, departments or individuals or whatever, and just answer questions, because kind of the whole communication is key thing. So as long as they understand what they have, and probably that might alleviate some concerns and questions and stuff. So if you're willing to do that, that'd be great.
I am, yeah, I mean, ultimately it gives them FaceTime with me to ask direct questions, and now they've had a year under their belt that they can ask those directly, which is good. So I'll work with Madeline, we'll get that set up, scheduled to happen here the next week plus.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
taking time.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Steve. Yep. Thanks very much. All right, Casey. Thanks for waiting, man.
All right, no
All right.
You didn't know what you were
Exciting
getting
stuff, man, I tell ya. All right, so next up we have the pay app number 4 for CCMG 2025 streets.
Yes, and so there's
Thanks
a
again.
handful of action items here. If you look at your handout, if you look at sheet number 3 in the bottom right blue, that's just a cover sheet of the pay app. But again, as you mentioned, this is for Crawford Excavating, pay application 4. We would recommend payment of $386,596.10.
Questions?
Make a motion, we approve pay app number 4.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second for pay app number 4 in the amount of $385,596.10. All those in favor say aye.
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 And then I got originals at the end, you can sign them all at once.
Okay.
And then at the wastewater treatment plant, the SRF project, there are 3 action items here for the council to consider. First one would be pay application number 31. So if you go to sheet number 4, I believe it is, yes. Sheet number 4, this is for R.E. Crosby for $322,081.07. So we would recommend council approve pay application number 31.
I'll make a motion to approve pay app number 31.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve pay app number 31 in the amount of $322,081.07. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The next action item, again, for the wastewater treatment plant, we're actually calling this change order number 9 revision. This is associated with, if you go to sheet number 5 in your bottom right corner in blue, we're getting some of your SCADA revisions and software, but some of the original intent of that, I think it was some of the ongoing service. Is that correct, Madeline?
Yeah.
We tried to get SRF to approve that. They wouldn't, because it was kind of ongoing. So we had to change this change order. Everything else is the same, other than that item number 1 went down. So we would ask council to consider change order number 9, R1, for an increase of $37,160.
I'll make a motion that we approve change order number 9.
I'll second. Have a motion and a second to approve change order number 9 R1 in the amount of $37,160. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
Good try on there.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
told
right.
we could at least ask.
Yeah,
Made him tell us no.
yeah.
They're usually pretty good about listening, but that one we couldn't get through. The final and last action item for the wastewater treatment plant, this is work allowance authorization number A111. If you go to sheet number 6, these are items that were already approved in previous change orders. So this is just an allowance authorization that allows them to invoice for it. So if you go to sheet number 6, it's for the fume hood electrical revisions, A2 tank, pipe extension, and some work at the EQ 2, 3, and 4. So that's for $6,583.64. We would ask council to consider that for approval.
Make a motion that we approve wastewater project A111 work allowance authorization.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second to approve the work allowance authorization, the amount of $6,583.64. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The next pay application, we would ask council to table that. If you go to sheet number 2, we had a pay application number 1 from Bunn Excavating. They're actually moving forward, got quite a bit of the water being done there on the west side of the project. Their pay application included quite a bit of materials on hand, stored materials, but they're supposed to give us invoices to show that they've actually paid for all of it. They understood that this would be tabled to the next meeting until we get that documentation. Other than answering any questions or providing any other updates, that concludes any items that I would have for council to consider.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thanks, Casey.
You're
Appreciate it. All right, next up, Biggs MOU.
Yeah, there's back, I don't know how long ago we executed a memorandum of understanding with Biggs doing the Turtle Meadows, that we would agree to be the pass-through for their ready funds. That we had in their condition that they receive the ready funds by a date that's already passed. No fault of their own. Ready funds, the first project was approved on Friday. So that was the first one to come through the queue. So they're starting to flow now.
Okay.
This just extends that until the end of the year to give them time to get their ready funds.
Okay.
So it's just, all it does is change that date to December 31st.
So we should need to make a motion to extend the date to December 31st.
Correct.
Make a motion that we extend the Biggs Incorporated Memorandum of Understanding to December 31st.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second to extend the Biggs MOU through December 31st. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is that?
If I step through that.
That's perfect.
Do you want to keep that and send me a copy of it? It probably just requires one signature, I think.
Yeah. All right, then what else do we, let's see, we have some,
Those are quotes from Riley that they sent earlier today.
okay. I didn't see, do we need
I
did
mean,
you get an email? Like I said, I haven't checked it since he
Are those
sent
the
it.
ones that came in from Zach?
well, it says Zach, but it was Riley.
Is this stuff that he needs?
But, so I had mentioned that the weir gate, you probably know better than me.
This is in the oxidation ditch. I haven't
Yes.
seen.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. You can look for quotes. He just sent them this afternoon.
Gotcha.
Anyway, something broke and, I mentioned it a couple meetings ago and he kind of gave a brief summary of what was
Okay, I
going on
remember that.
and said that he was waiting on quotes. So
Let me see where this one has, oh, there it is, 74,833, this one's 87. I mean, do you know anything about it as far as?
Probably
Let him see the
Roads,
quotes.
yeah, it's just,
So we're not running it through the project, we're just,
I would love to run it through the project, believe me.
did he emphasize that it had to be approved tonight?
I mean, he's been waiting on it for a while.
Okay.
You tried to run it through the project?
I want to run it through the project. We haven't asked yet because we haven't had quotes.
Got it.
So,
so that we would potentially try and do first.
Well, I think what she's saying, you gotta do it and then submit the bill to the SRO.
Oh, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
well, I mean, but they've also got kind of getting, I don't know. We might have to
Did you
finagle
get,
it.
was there multiple quotes there?
Yeah, there's another one right there.
You should have, so this sounds like routine maintenance. So it's routine maintenance.
It's not, though.
It's huge fees, I mean, it's, go ahead, Andy, I'm sorry.
This piece isn't a routine maintenance and something didn't break.
It was something that was supposed to be in the original project that we cut out.
I guess I don't know how he got the quotes and whether he filed the proper bidding.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not involved in that anymore.
I think this was the item that Ari Crosby was not real interested in doing, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Because they want to get out of Dodge, I think.
Yeah, because I know that you talked to,
Right. But with that being said, I know at some point we need to figure out where we're at with our total amount here soon. I know Madeline and I have been thinking about that. I would hate for you to approve this and we could run it through the project if there was money available. But I also don't want to hold Riley up if this is something that's imminent. So
I mean, maybe he just needs to go talk to Riley and then we confer and save it to the next meeting.
Yeah, I think you can wait till the next meeting or, yeah.
I mean, he's been waiting for a month anyway, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd also like to confirm that he followed the bidding procedures.
Yeah.
2 reasons. 1, we need to. 2, if he didn't, there's no way SRF's gonna allow it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, if it's through SRF, we either have to run it through the RE Crosby contract, or there's a lot more hoops we got to
A lot
to
more.
go through.
Yeah, if you're able, or you,
Yes, yeah, oh yeah, I can figure all this out if I got at least a couple weeks here to
Okay.
work with Riley.
Yeah, it seems like if you could work with Crosby to issue a change order and then them hire somebody.
Yes, and
That's
that's
what
what we
we-
did,
that's
that's
what
what we
we
did
do.
on,
Yeah,
yeah, that's what we did on the
Perhaps,
bar screen, we would do the same thing.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can,
okay,
that'd be great.
okay.
All right, anything else, old business, anybody has? Nothing? I have nothing, all right. Mr. Pattenbrock, department reports, anything, police department?
No, I'm gonna start looking for a squad, pricing some squads out for next year. Other than that, full staff, so it's been nice.
Good deal. Cool. Mr. Crowder?
Yeah, we're all right. Park have continuation of mulching leaves and stuff. That usually takes us to second week in December before we have a total cleanup completed. And a shout out to the girls varsity basketball team for coming over a week ago today and helping us with leaves and blowing and raking and stuff like that. So that was good. And the Cub Scouts set something up with them, and they came out Sunday afternoon and stained the shutters on the Scout building. Did a real nice job, their supervisors. And we're gonna winterize starting Friday, and cold weather coming up here, Sunday and Monday, I think. Down to 24, 25 degrees.
Yeah.
And
Great that.
other than that, why, we continue the paint work on the inside of these dugouts and stuff like that, getting that out of the way. Hopefully at the end of this month, a few warmer days coming up here. So we'll get that completed hopefully by the end of this month, as far as the dugouts go and stuff. That's about it.
Appreciate it, Rick.
Yes.
Dustin. Anything from you, sir? A couple things, Natalie, just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware the office was gonna be closed most of next week. Veterans Day, and then the rest of the week they'll be doing some training for the software, so offices will be closed. I had somebody reach out and just wanted to see if we would be interested in allowing the use of the sound system that the town has for other community events that people have. I don't even know exactly what all we have. I know that could be,
Just speaker and microphone unit.
No, it's
there's more than that, and I mean,
The soundboard,
you
so we're
know,
talking a lot.
Sounds-
What is she wanting to use it for?
I don't know exactly. I guess for me too, it's not just this one thing, it potentially be multiple things, so it's just whether or not we wanna.
I mean, we do allow, I mean, but of course, I've always been the one.
Right. And yeah, and that's the thing, if we did that, that to me would be part of the procedures, we'd have to have somebody kind of helping with it, because.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just give a sound system to anybody and everybody to use, that's a lot of things that could go wrong with that, and stuff isn't cheap, so. That's just something I've said I'd bring up, and maybe, we can discuss with Mark as well. To me, that, the only way I would be okay with it is if we had some sort of procedure we're following, and that somebody would, from the town, be the one that kind of ran it, at those events.
I don't think we have anybody present.
Well, that's the thing, I don't know if we would want to do that, so, but So just something about, don't have to make a decision on tonight. And I just wanted to personally thank everybody that helped out with Halloween Fest. A lot of town employees, Lisa, had people from the town step in. Also just thank Madeline and Natalie that put in a lot of time in the past to bring it up to where it is now. And so just thanks everybody for making it a great event for our community. That's all I have.
Went to the annual AIM conference 2 weeks ago and went to quite a few meetings about budgetary items and what it means for a community our size and how that's going to look for the next, I think they went on as far as 4 to 6 years. So,
How's it look?
Not great.
not great. I mean, we're still going to continue to lose money for now, and then we're going to have to foster a relationship with the county because we're going to be subject to their kindness because they could encumber some of our funds if we don't have a standing relationship with them.
Also, you will have, not we, you guys will have to pass a local option income tax next year, or else we will be losing a lot of money. So, but that, yes, you guys would pass a resolution or ordinance and then send it to them at their blessing, and that is renewed every single year.
I wonder if, I would imagine, are there probably more types of those seminars or conferences that, possibly Mark might go to or something?
It seems like occasionally they have meetings up in South Bend, don't they?
No,
The AIM puts them-
Middlebury.
Middlebury.
Yeah.
my bad. So, I don't know, that was put on by Baker Tilly, that most of those meetings were.
Baker Tilly has been doing webinars too, but I think
Right.
they're in the middle of the day, so
Did they record those?
I don't know. I always send it them live.
But it's, definitely, in that income tax would take effect next year.
27.
27. So we approve it next
approved
year,
next
but
year.
we have to enact it in 27. So and it's going to, I think, part of it, I think the elderly and the disabled, perhaps some veterans, will benefit from that a little bit. However, if you are working, because the property taxes will go down, but you're gonna be paying more.
Yeah. Your homestead credit percentage goes up.
Oh,
Yeah.
but you're gonna be paying more in income
Right,
taxes.
so it's going to be a sizable, up to, 2.9%, I think, combined with our community and county together. So we're going to notice a big difference coming out of our paycheck.
Awesome.
Yeah,
More than what you save in property tax.
way more than what you say
Yeah.
in property taxes.
But what that does is benefits the elderly, because most of them are on a fixed income, so they're not paying the income tax, so.
All right.
Oh, you guys meet the governor the other day too.
Yes, I did. I was cut out of all of the photos, but I didn't get to meet him.
Just Photoshop you back in there. Cool, thank you. Madeline?
No, nothing.
All right. Thanks everybody for coming. You guys have a good night. Stand adjourned. Sarah.
Yep, I'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Good, how are you, sir?
Oh,
Kind of long.
How do you like working at the golf course?
The insurance was fun.
I like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to
Yeah.
see busy.